In this video, I want to talk about an important step of how we are going to get to New Earth. Some of us are here already, but a huge step is letting go. And the best way for me to describe it is to just tell you my story, because it's a universal story that we're all going to have to understand. It's a way for me to communicate what I'm trying to say. So when you awaken and you realize that everything isn't the way you thought it was. I went through like a big anger stage where I was like, oh my gosh, nothing is like I thought it was, and we're being bamboozled, and this is all a sham, and you go through that stage. But before I even got to that stage, I had to go through a letting go of everything that defined my world. So I've had several letting goes, and they can be harsh, but if you know you're going through something that needs to be released, you can proactively do it yourself, and it's much easier. I was very resistant, but I really didn't know what was happening at the time. So that's why I was resistant. So when my catalyst came into my life and activated me, my life was turned upside down. I was married, lived in a big, beautiful home, had the Mercedes, had the Land Rover, 2 kids, boy and a girl. I'm like, come on, it couldn't get any more perfect than this. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't, I went through my depression and everything, and I thought, well, this is just how life is. You get married, you have kids, get a house, that was the purpose. And then when the catalyst came into my life, that all was shattered. And I gave it all up. None of that meant anything to me anymore. Having a big house, care less. I moved from, I think it was 3,400 square foot home to a 1,200 square foot condo, and I couldn't have been happier. Gave up the fancy cars and got myself a Volkswagen. Couldn't have been happier. Gave up that dream of being married and kids and a house and cars and all that. My soul didn't even want that. I knew I didn't really want that when I was in it. It just it never felt right to me. So I got divorced, gave up everything. I had 50-50 custody of my kids. Didn't give them up completely. My son was very young. He wasn't even 2 years old at the time. My daughter was 5. But the way that we handled it, my ex-husband and I, it was pretty smooth with the kids, and they're amazing kids. So that was a huge letting go of what you think is success and the way you should live. And you're living the dream. And that's exactly what it is. It's not real. It's keeping up with the Joneses. My car's fancier than yours. I have a bigger house than yours. We have lots of money in the bank. None of it matters. None of it matters. On New Earth, you don't have anything in excess. You just have what you need, and you're so okay with it. You don't need a big stockpile of just in case, because there is no just in case. Everything comes to you when you need it. So part of this process, and it's hard, people don't want to let go of that. What are people going to think? First, divorce. My family didn't like it, but you know what? I knew I couldn't stay there anymore. So you have to confront family members, school, what are they going to think? What are other parents going to think? I only have my kids half the time, And some people give their kids up totally and move somewhere else. And we don't judge that. So I got through the divorce, giving up of all that. I had, after that awakening, my creativity exploded. I finally said, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do. I went to design school, started doing interior design. I opened up my own store in a very high-end design center. I was in, I'm going to say 10 to 12 publications, magazines. I even did a stint on television in Los Angeles. Again, had it all. Success. I was better. I was conscious of what was happening, but I still was seeking validation outside of myself. And then the center where my store was sold. I felt a shift happening, and I knew this was over. I knew it was over. And I held on to it because I was self-sufficient now. It was my only income. I was severely in debt, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I should have given it up a year earlier than I did, and I didn't. And it was hard. I went through a really, really hard time letting all that go because I didn't know what I was going to do. So when you don't make the decision, it's done for you. And you see it as punishment or suffering. But you didn't take the initiative when I knew a year ago I should have closed it down, then it will be done for you. And it's a gift. It's an act to push you to move forward and push through it. And then I had to let it go. And then I found myself with nothing and sitting in welfare department for the state of California and wondering how I got here. I had everything going back to when I was married and the best clothes and the fancy house and the cars and everything. And here I am sitting in a welfare office. Everything was stripped from me. And that happens on this journey too. Not for everybody, but for you to create new, you have to, there is a part of you that is required to give up everything, every attachment. I even had to detach from my family. I didn't communicate or see. I communicated, but I didn't see them. I didn't go to any holidays for a year because those relationships, that relationship I had with them wasn't where I wanted it to be. So when you do that, you're dismantling it. And then when you do come back together, it's created new. It's different. The whole dynamic changed with my family. Did I have to get to the point where I was on welfare? No, but I was resisting the change. And so you will get to rock bottom when you resist. So it's easier to just observe it. I went through it maybe because so I can share this with you. When you know there's a shift that needs to be done, a change that needs to be done, but you're resisting it, be prepared for it to be done for you. And it's not a pleasant experience. But it's being done for your good, your higher good. It's get you to move. Sometimes we need our butt kicked to get us going. We're not in charge on this journey. Our higher selves is. And then you get to a point where you become your higher self. I have incorporated my higher self. I even felt it come into my body. So I am living to that higher self that I always talked to and prayed to. You become it. You become your ascended master state. You're an ascended master. And you don't pray to them anymore. You talk to them as they're your fellow friends. And you can, they've done this. They're further down the path. But you don't have to pray to them. And, you just ask advice. And if you feel like it. You're so in your higher self that you really don't need to. You do it if you want to play and, it's fun. It's all about having fun once you get here. So, yes, big part of this is the letting go. And letting go of people you love because they're keeping you stuck. And that was my latest letting go, was letting go of someone I really, really loved. Still love. But it's that dynamic will not work in New Earth. So you have to recognize that and let it go. So, all right. Hope that helps you. And if you have these situations, if you're in a state of suffering and don't know what's going on, you're in resistance and you have to roll with it is the easiest thing. But our human mind doesn't want to do that. But it's part of the journey. And you're ascending. You're not being punished. All right? And I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.